Welcome into the Fade. I'm Clay Travis. She's Kelly Stewart. We are not going to get arrested during the FBI, hopefully during today's program.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, I don't know. There's been a lot of people arrested, Kelly. I'm just hoping that we can get through today's gambling special without getting arrested. This morning, obviously, we had the FBI raid, the arrest, everybody else. We're not even talking about the NBA today. We are talking about the NFL. We're talking about college football. And we are going to dive right into those. Kelly, tonight, Vikings-Chargers, Thursday night football game. I am on the Chargers minus 3.5. The number feels a bit steep. I thought about taking the over, but I'm nervous on that one given what usually happens on Thursday night football. Are you diving in any direction here with Vikings-Chargers?
So there's a couple of things. I always recommend people when you're playing in contests, right? And you have stale numbers, take advantage of those stale numbers. Right now I have a 2.5 on the Chargers, and that is the way I am leaning, debating if I'm going to get involved or not, Clay. Look, here's kind of a immovable force meets whatever that saying is. You've got Carson Wentz, who's done very well in his last 6 games on Thursday night, 6-0 against the spread. And you've got the Minnesota Vikings, who can't do anything on Thursday night. I think this is a buy low spot for the Chargers. I agree with you here. Chargers looked awful last week against the Colts. Chargers have really looked awful over their last few games. Kind of wondering what's going on there at SoFi Stadium. Just 2-4 outright there over the last 6 contests. I just don't know what to make of this Vikings team. Was that an anomaly? I was on them last week, got very lucky to keep the teaser alive. Carson Wentz just had an awful game, made the Eagles defense look significantly better. But I will say this, I think Justin Herbert and the Chargers right the ship tonight. I'll lay the 2.5 in the contest. 3 is as high as I go. If you're laying 3.5, you missed the boat. It's better just to sit this one out.
What else do you like in the NFL this week? I finally had a good week in the NFL, Kelly. I don't know how you did last week. I went 5-2.
Of course you did. It was a bloodbath week for me, Clay. It was awful.
I had been struggling. So I'm going to give you the first pick. And I gave everyone the greatest bet of the century, in my opinion, which was, the Patriots destroying the Titans. Was so easy to me. I mean, I even asked Laura how much she would let me bet on it before I placed my wagers. I was very confident that was an easy win. I'm going to continue to bet against the Titans, even though the numbers now are getting outrageous. But what do you like the most this week in the NFL slate?
Listen, Clay, that was a great call by you. I have got to stop betting some of these trash teams. The Jets, the Saints, the Titans. Titans up 10-0, and I'm going, oh boy, Clay's just going to keep that awful NFL season alive, and I'm going to keep rocking and rolling. And I don't think they scored again. Every time I looked, the Patriots were in the red zone. It was absolutely awful. I have 3 bets I really like a lot this week. I ended up giving out Carolina on Wager Talk as my best bet, though, because I didn't have enough information on the Ravens, at the time. I think the reality is a lot of people don't think that Buffalo can lose 3 straight. Josh Allen has never had that happen. There is a lot of speculation here about this Buffalo team. And hey, can they stop the run? I don't know if they can. And that's kind of an interesting thing here. You've got all of these factors coming into play, and you want to lay 7.5 here with the Buffalo Bills. I'm not buying it. I think this is an awful spot for them. I think the whole world's going to want to put them in teasers. I think Carolina is live to win this game outright. Yes, Bryce Young busted up his ankle. It's not a high ankle sprain, though. You talk with Dr. Chow every once in a while. I see him on OutKick. I watched his video on it, said, hey, he's going to be day-to-day. We'll see. He does have Andy Dalton as a backup. We know that he is absolutely serviceable. We'll see kind of how this Panthers defense does. I think they've been really solid, keeping teams less than 300 yards per game, less than 22 points per game. They've covered 4 straight at home. Carolina is my favorite bet this weekend.
I don't dislike that one at all. I actually flagged it as well. And it makes me a little bit nervous that we're in agreement there. Here's a couple that probably you're not going to like because I would imagine most of the public is on them with me. The number on the Colts-Titans is crazy. The Colts are out to 13.5-point favorite. It's a divisional game. I just think the Titans have quit on the year. I don't think they're any good. They can't block in the dome. I think it's going to be ugly. I've lost a lot of enthusiasm about Cam Ward, so I'm laying a huge number here. I'm also going to jump and continue on the momentum of the New England Patriots. I get it. It's a big number. Browns under Dylan Gabriel playing a little bit better. At least he's trying to prove that he can be an NFL quarterback. I'm going on the Pats on this one. And I guess continuing I'm just not going to try to step in front of bad NFL teams. I'm taking the Falcons to continue to dominate the Dolphins. And I'm also, Kelly, on the Bengals with the Jets, as the Jets, to me, offensively, I can't see them scoring. I know Joe Flacco is 178 years old, but I think he will have success against the Jets. So that is my awful teams will stay awful and lose substantially parlay for everybody out there.
Yeah, look, you're laying a premium to bet against those teams, but I don't blame you in the slightest, Clay. Last week I used the Jets in a couple of my contest plays, and middle through the day, I'm like, what are we doing here? There was other things on the board available. You don't have to bet the Jets. I'll say this. There's two teams you gave out there that I'm going to use for my survivor picks because I don't want to go all in on one team, and I've already used the Colts in several. Colts, I think, are an easy survivor pick if you haven't used them yet. Number 1 in EPA per play, number 1 in success rate, number 4 in passing success rate. Danny Dimes is the real deal. They're scoring 33.1 points per game this season. I love this Colts team. Coincidentally, I loved them last year. I'm always a year too early on these teams. Last time these two played, Cam Ward got sacked 4 times. Titans missed 2 field goals, and Jonathan Taylor ran it down their throats. Are they going to cover the 14? It's a lot of points to lay. I don't see why the Colts offense doesn't keep clicking on all cylinders. I am on the Browns, so you and I are head-to-head there. I know a lot of people are buying the Drake May hype, but this is by far the best defense that they have played all season long, right? Browns defense, number 3 in EPA per play, number 3 in success rate, number 2 in rushing success rate. How did the Pats beat the Bills? Oh, wait, that's right, on the ground. You know me, Clay. I'm a sucker for taking the better defense plus the points. And you mentioned Joe Flacco. I think he's done nothing short of amazing. You go in, one team 1 week, all of a sudden, guess what? You're moving across the state. You now play for Cincinnati, fit right in that system, and he has been serviceable. I think he has a chance to turn the corner there with the Cincinnati team. 6.5, I can tell you, 5.5, 6, all sharp action. And who doesn't want to bet against the Jets? I don't blame people. So if you do have a stale line there as well, I don't know if it's going to get to 7. I guess we'll see how many people want to bet the Bengals this week, but that's the only way I can look in that one.
Here are 2 I'm curious. I'm also taking the 49ers as a road dog against the Texans. They are just a couple of points underdogged against the Texans. And then I'm predicting that Jackson Dart and Cam Skattebo continue to have success on the offensive side of the ball against the Eagles, and I'm taking the over. So those are all my NFL picks. What else, if anything, do you like from the NFL slate?
So I do know I saw some sharp money come in on that Eagles under. That sounds absolutely terrifying. I do think that if you're looking at player props for Cam Skattebo or Jackson Dart, you are going to be paying a premium for what they just did 2 weeks ago. Everybody's going to remember that. I think Philadelphia kind of has a problem, right? And I said this a couple of weeks ago. Jalen Daniels has got, that's wrong game. Jalen Hurts has got some issues with meeting up with his receivers. They were able to connect last week finally, but I'm not taking that one game where Carson Wentz just played absolutely atrocious and saying that this Philadelphia defense is all the way back. So I'm not going to be on that game. I don't blame you for wanting to take the over there. The other games that I did look at, laying the 3.5 with Denver. I was on Dallas last week. If you remember, the only bright spot in my entire Sunday basically was the Dallas Cowboys just trouncing the Commanders. And look, Denver, I don't know how on planet Earth they had that 32-point fourth quarter comeback win over the Giants. If I didn't watch it myself, there's no way I would have believed you. But Sean Payton, guess what? Congratulations. Now you just got to beat the number 1 offense. And that's the whole thing. Dallas has an atrocious defense. I'm not worried about Denver not being able to score here. I think this also bodes well for the over. I'm just curious how Denver parlays that crazy win into actually getting another win here this week. I do think the Dallas defense is going to give up a ton of points to Bo Nix. I have him starting in all my fantasy teams once again because they may be playing from behind. That also bodes well towards the over.
What do you like? All right, that's NFL. Anything else you love NFL-wise?
Clay, I really don't. I've got Cleveland. I gave you guys Baltimore. I do think Lamar Jackson is healthy. I do think that they're not going to march him out there. Otherwise, obviously, this team is coming off just an atrocious stretch of games. And you've got to kind of think, what do we see here? And what do you see? Oh, wait, Chicago won 4 straight. Oh, what? They're getting a touchdown on the road. I think everybody needs to kind of pump the brakes here. We'll see if the Ravens defense can come up. I've been kind of waiting for just that extra little tidbit. Lamar Jackson had a full practice. He's good to go before I bet that. But yeah, that one's on my long list all week.
All right. College football. I am going to go watch the Mizzouri Vanderbilt game.
Ooh.
It is my blood bank. I hope I have not cursed the Vanderbilt Commodores. We had an amazing stretch of games yesterday. I like Vanderbilt minus 2.5 in this game against Mizzou. It's kind of kicked around. Reminds me a bit of LSU. I just think Vandy's better. I don't think you need any bells and whistles here. I don't think we need anything crazy. I'm impressed that Mizzou traditionally has beaten the teams you would expect Mizzou to beat. But Mizzou really, look, they were very fortunate to beat Auburn in overtime. They were down 17-10 or whatever the heck it was late. They still have mostly played at home, 6 of the 7 at home. I think Vanderbilt, again, a little bit hype with all the college game day attention, everything else going on there. But it's my favorite game. I think Vandy just has more horses on the offensive side of the ball. And again, this is not a smoke and mirrors team. Vegas actually likes Vanderbilt quite a bit. So that's my favorite bet, and it's the game that I will go to. Do you have a favorite game or two, Kelly? It's been a crazy week. I was in New York, and then I was in Fort Wayne, Indiana all day yesterday. And then we had the arrest this morning. So I haven't even posted my picks. This is the first time we've talked about it. So I'm going to try to sit down and get them written here this afternoon before I have to run back out for more events. But that is my take right now. Vanderbilt, my favorite. What's your favorite of the college slate?
Let's talk about that Vanderbilt-Mizzou game. I am not drinking the Drinkowitz Kool-Aid by any means here. I will say this. I think the line seems short. And that's what initially had me go, wait a minute. Vanderbilt's off that nice LSU win.
You think Vandy should be favored by more?
I thought we would see at least a 3.5. So at 2.5, I was like, whoa, yeah. What am I missing? I don't think I'm going to get involved, but I do feel like it's kind of got one of those fishy line looks to it. Again, Mizzou coming off that overtime win. And yet now here we are, 2.5. It seems cheap. Well, I'll be cheering for Vanderbilt just for you. I have no dog in the fight. I have a few games that I really love this week, Clay. I'll start off with the latest game, and that's because it's my favorite. That is the Houston Cougars catching 7.5 is what I was really hoping for. But those are pretty much all gone now. Arizona State got the outright underdog win for me last week. And I don't want to sound ungrateful, but you know what happens, Clay? They go in, they're at home, they beat Texas Tech, they let out that sigh of relief, and guess what? Here comes the Houston Cougars. And Willie Fritz, kudos to him. What is he doing? Yep, he's turning around another crappy program. Arizona State 0-3 as a home favorite coming off an outright home underdog win. Plus, Jordan Tyson, one of their top wide receivers, is probably going to be out for this game. He's got a bad hamstring injury. I like the Cougars here getting over a touchdown on the road. I think this is a letdown spot, if you will, for the Sun Devils.
I hate to sound like my buddy Todd Furman, but Auburn, Arkansas. There is a huge storm system. Sorry. I'm just laughing because these poor fan bases have just had such brutal years already. And now we get Auburn on the road in Fayetteville, and it's just going to be a monsoon for this game. And already the offenses for Auburn has been difficult to watch. I'm taking Arkansas, Kelly. I think that Bobby Petrino will find a way to finally win a game. He's been scoring, right? They put up 42 against A&M. They put up 31 against Tennessee. This Razorback team offensively has come to play with Petrino. He's trying to convince people he deserves the job. Hugh Freeze is trying to convince people he deserves to keep the job. And it's going to be just a deluge going on during the course of this game, a monsoon. I'm taking Arkansas in this one. And I was just laughing because I was the weather conditions. Let me hit you with a few other SEC. Ole Miss, Oklahoma. I'm going to take the under. Oklahoma basically takes the life out of every game so far this year. I am going to, with some trepidation, take South Carolina plus the points. The Gamecocks just keep burning me. But I don't think they're awful. I'm concerned about the offensive line. But Alabama has played 4 straight top 25 opponents, and now they're going on the road against a Gamecock team that has nothing to play for. And Lenore Sellers is still a first-round caliber talent, so could he string a couple of things together? Mississippi State plus the points. I don't know if you watched that game. Texas played on the road against Kentucky. And then this one, LSU plus the points, which is probably going to surprise people. And Tennessee with some points against Kentucky. Those are all SEC games. Do you like any of the SEC games?
I'll tell you this. I'm going to lay it with the Sooners. I love Lane Kiffin and the Rebs, but boy, last week had to be exhausting for that defense. I mean, they were on the field for 80 plays. And coming now to Norman to play this game, you mentioned every single game for the Sooners have stayed under the total, and that's because the defense is giving up less than 10 points per game. And we talked about it in the Red River Shootout. John Mateer, he just wasn't 100%. But then last week, there he goes, right into Columbia, South Carolina, got a nice win, no interceptions like he had the previous week. I love Lane Kiffin, and I love what he's been able to do there with Ole Miss. But you have to also remember, he's right now the front runner. He's getting a lot of talk about going to Gainesville. Maybe you got some insight there. But the Sooners have 28 sacks on the season. I think this defense is going to bode very well for not only your under, but for the Oklahoma Sooners to cover. I will also say this. I'm on Mississippi State with you. I think they can beat Texas. I have not been impressed with Texas all season long. I've been betting against them all season long. Last week, I was kicking myself saying, what was I doing? And I was also kicking myself with Mississippi State last week going, what the hell were they doing in Gainesville? They had the opportunity to set themselves up for a game-winning field goal and then threw an interception. Almost threw my remote into the TV, Clay. That was absolutely asinine. Longhorns, you mentioned last week, got taken to overtime versus Kentucky. They got outgained by 216 yards. This is not a good offense whatsoever. 88th and third down conversion, 79th overall. This Bulldogs team has been a ATS printing machine. They can win outright. I hope they can catch Texas off that back-to-back road game, just mentally broken offense, and maybe be able to snag one. I took the plus 225 there.
What else do you like? That's all the SEC games. I'm trying to look at top 25 games because I still haven't posted these yet. I took Stanford as a big underdog. I mean, that seems like a crazy line all the way out near 31 against Miami. I took Michigan State as a big underdog at home in a rivalry game against Michigan. I just haven't been that impressed with Michigan's offense overall. And I took UCLA as a big underdog against Indiana, given what we've seen. UCLA's won 3 games in a row. Maybe they're going to lose by 4 touchdowns, but that seems steep to me, given that the offense has been somewhat decent.
Yeah, I'm on Jonathan Smith and the 14.5 points, Clay. The reason why I didn't give him out on the money line is because I'm not sure they can win that game. They have not beaten Michigan in 1,500 days, and those things are tough to get that monkey off your back. But 2 touchdowns against Sharon Moore and this offense that, well, Bryce Underwood, kind of Arch Manning 2.0. I've said on the show before, I don't think that he is progressing like everybody's expectations expect him to. But again, 18, 19-year-old kid, these kind of things change when we start having big paychecks associated with names. So it's a little difficult, but keep in mind, I do think that this is too many points. Rivalry game. Jonathan Smith has been great, not only as an underdog, but when seeking revenge, 6-1 in his last 7. We know that revenge is really hard to quantify, but Jonathan Smith is very good at it in that role. So again, I think too many points here in one of those just rock fight, low scoring games. I'm going to take him as a premium. And then the other game that I did take was Northwestern. I know a lot of really sharp people that are on Nebraska, but I'm not sold on this Nebraska team. I bet against them 2 weeks ago with Maryland. I didn't know how they won that game, but they got out. They got to get in the top 25 to turn around and do what? Lose on Friday night to Minnesota? I like this Northwestern defense. And don't look now, Clay, but look at this. They finished with USC, Michigan, Minnesota, and Illinois. Is it possible this Northwestern team could make the Big Ten title game? I don't know. They got to win. They got to win on Saturday. They got to win in Lincoln. Not an easy place to win, but I took the touchdown in the hook there, and I did put a little bit on the money line for the Wildcats.
Yeah, I took Northwestern plus 7.5, by the way, too. I was kicking myself because I was with you on the Maryland game, and then I didn't jump on the Minnesota game against Nebraska, which was too big of a line. I think this number is just too big. And you also have, you were mentioning earlier, Lane Kiffin rumors with Florida, which there's a lot going on there, but also Matt Rule to Penn State. And it feels like maybe he's derailed a bit his team, and Northwestern's been having a very good year. All right. I got to go post all of these picks right now. Anything else from you on college football?
No, I think that's pretty much it on my list. There's some interesting sandwich spots, if you will. Wake Forest, there is catching a little too many points, but I did miss the 5. It's down to 3 against SMU at home. So I missed the boat there. So I didn't end up getting involved. And then Baylor, same thing. I missed the boat on Baylor. This one's come down a little bit from the opener of 5 down to 3.5. Cincinnati, good football team, had some nice wins. I just think this Baylor team is more well-rounded and might have given them a run for their money. But again, sometimes it's best. You miss the number. You just got to stay away. But if you do play in contests like I do, you can always find those stale numbers. So keep those in your back pocket in case you need a couple extra games to add to your list.
Awesome. Appreciate all of you hanging out with us. Thank you, Kelly. Fingers crossed. Let's get some winners. This has been The Fade. I am Clay Travis. She is Kelly Stewart. We'll see you next week.